Welcome all to the class. This is day 12 of our IT Foundation and AWS Cloud Training, codenamed iFACT. This program is implemented by Each One Teach One that is sponsored by Lockdown LLC. And this program sole purpose is to help anyone that wants to get, not anyone, to help the ladies, other women to cut over to the cloud and start working and start developing their career in that area. And today we are going to look at some of the stuff that we've done. We are going to try to look into Powershell, and we are going to look at other use cases for PowerShell, especially with files and folders. So we're gonna deal with that a little bit, and then we're gonna dive into Python, and we're gonna be very realistic and practical with learning Python. So there are two books that we have out there. One is A Bite of Python by Swarup, and the next one is by a guy. The next one is let me give me a minute here. Let me get that. That is a very interesting book. So let me get the name of the book. The guy's last name is kind of funny. It's kind of hard to pronounce and stuff like that, but I'll get it for you guys in a bit. Give me a second here. Yes, his name is Al, but that's not enough information about him. I'll get more information about him. Okay. So the name of the book is Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. I've given you guys this book before, and that's a URL for it. And the name of the author is called, his first name is Al, but I don't know the last name. The last name is Swift-Gatz. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. It's Swigert, I think. It's by Al Swigert. He has really a practical way of studying Python, and we'll get into that. As a matter of fact, I really like the way he's teaching Python, and we'll do some stuff with him. So before we start, I would like to know who wants to do the roll call today. I need somebody to do the roll call so that we can.
I think I already did. I just didn't recognize. Somebody's logged in with a 5. It's on the phone 5.
Oh, you already did it?
Yeah, but I didn't recognize. There's somebody who logged in with a phone, cell phone 5 something.
There's a couple of people here. You can see their name here. You can just see their name and just check them off and get them going. But I really appreciate your help. Yeah, just when you move your cursor.
Who is at 564-30-393-9818?
No, just move your mouse over the names. You will see the full name. Like, if you move your mouse over the name. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing. Like, let me show you. If you move.
Yeah, I was able to recognize everybody else except that person with 564-393.
Oh, I see. But that person is not here no more. That person is gone. Like, Ezyab is here. Janelle is here. Oh, I see. This person is logged in with. He's not even on our server. I don't know who that is. Who is this individual here? Can you tell us who you are, please? Yeah, I see the person here. The 564-393-98185. I'm not sure who it is, but if you can tell us who you are, that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
So if you don't tell us who you are, we might consider blocking you. Hello? The person is not saying who they are. All right, we might consider blocking that person. Anyway, I'll stop sharing this and I'll share the right one with you and we'll go from there. It seems like the network is kind of bad today. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, very clear.
Okay. So the person pretty much is there, but I might block them off. But we need to know who is in the class. I'm sure it's somebody that we know, but since they're not trying to reveal themselves, then there will be no need to have them on. So we need people to participate, not to be in to silence their presence. Let me check if it's somebody that I know. That number is not right. Uh, the person that's saying it, I think, is not right either. 56. No, it's not anybody that I know.
Hey, Josiah.
Yes, you're back.
No, I'm here, but I don't see my name up here, so I don't know if that's my server doing that. I
Oh,
don't see
Nene.
my name here.
So who is it?
This is Charity.
Charity, is your phone number 564?
No, I'm not actually logged in the phone, like through my laptop, but I don't know why it's doing that. But I don't know if it's you or somebody else, though,
Oh,
because
you
I
don't
don't
know
see
if
my
it's
name.
you?
Like,
Charity, can you try to get out and come back in so we know that it's you?
sure.
I think whoever that is not logging into our server. That person is logging into other people's server. That's what I'm seeing.
Oh, is it mine?
I
I
don't
hope it's
know.
not. Mine's RJ.
RJ is here. RJ is
Can you
fine.
see mine? Okay, I
I
can
think
see
I
it.
think it's Charity. Charity, you're logging in with metrics.org instead of jitsylockdown.com, which is ours.
It's me?
Well, you just logged
Yes,
out and
it's
logged
you.
in. It's you. It has to be you here
Yeah. I don't know why it's doing that.
because you're
Because I
not
have
logging
my,
into our server. You logged in into your old account that you have somewhere. Yes,
because I logged in through the way that I usually do it every day.
but
So I don't
let
know
me show
why
you
it's doing
something.
that.
When you go to everybody's, when you look at
Mm-hmm.
everybody's name, they have Jitsi
Mm-hmm.
Lockdown in them. Check, go to your profile and check, you know where your name
Mm-hmm.
is? Check the server that you on. You will see
Yeah.
what I'm telling you.
Okay, let me do that.
Check the server you on. You will see what I'm telling you. That you're not on GC Lockdown.
Okay.
Yep.
Say Jitsi lockdown.
Are you on GC Lockdown?
Yes, it is saying that.
Okay. Okay. It's saying GC Lockdown,
Yes.
but when I go and check you out, it's saying matrix.org.
Hmm.
Can you log out again for sure? Okay. Can you show us
Okay.
your video? Can you reveal like your video? Can you show video? For sure, we know
Say
who it.
video.
Yeah.
Your
Allow your
face.
video for sure. When you do that, if that is not showing you, then I
Mm-hmm.
really have to disconnect the person. Just click on your video so that you can. That's
Yeah, that's
you. That's you.
Yeah, it
That
is.
is you. It says matrix.org. I can screenshot it and show it to you.
Okay.
I screenshot it and I put it on Riot. You see for yourself.
Okay. Let me do that.
It's on Riot. You see for yourself what it's showing us.
Okay.
So somebody is logged in as something else. See? Matrix.org. You can see the screenshot. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
You see it, so it's you. So what I recommend is, because you're logged into that noise, is a lot of noise coming from there. If you can sign out and sign in, making sure this time that you are logging into Jitsi Lockdown. Okay? Okay?
Okay, let me log out and
Yeah, we're not gonna
come
do
back.
anything until you come back. So guys, I wanted to know how you guys feel about the networking aspect of it, the subnetting that we did. Is it confusing?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Azia.
Okay, so I seem to understand everything, but we had on the useful host ID,
Yeah.
we're supposed to have, I thought in my mind, we should have had 64, but we have 62. So I forgot why we got 62.
Oh, okay. Remember we said that when you're subnetting, the first IP address goes to the network. Just like when we started off with
Yeah.
.0 for class C, the first one is 0, which is the network. However, if you subnetted it again, you realize the first one will be 1. So you have that one, and then you have another one, broadcast, which will fall within, I believe it was 63, because the next IP will start from 64. To start from, sorry, what am I saying? I'm correct. It's 63 for that particular IP that we have. I think we have 192.168. Do somebody remember .1.0? So in that case, we were given this network /24. However, when we did the subnet, when we did the table, remember the table that we did? First, we start with the subnet. We carried out with we start with the subnet. We carried 256, 0 to 256, and then we started with the host, and we carried and counted. Sorry, 0 to 1 to 256. Now we started with the host, and we did 256 to 1. And then we started with subnet. I think we started from /24 and we went all the way to 32. So remember the question. The question that was asked was, we have this network and we want you to split it into 3 departments or 3 areas for that particular business. And the particular business has about 150 computers. So let's say they have 150 computers. Remember, I asked that question that if since each segment is 64, based on what we got on the table, that if you added it, if the company has 200 computers, will it work? And somebody said no, it wouldn't work, and that was correct, because if you do 64, 64, 64, you'll be getting more than that. I said if the company has 250 computers, will it work? Somebody said no, and that's correct, because when you do 62, 62, 62, 62, you're gonna get 248, I believe. Now, with your question, you have to understand that when you subnet, the first address goes to the network, and then there's an address right before the next network address, which means you have the network address -1, which is going to be the broadcast. Okay? Or you can say you add 64 to the broadcast address or the broadcast ID. Then you get the next broadcast ID. And you add 64 again to that one, you get the next broadcast ID. That's how it works. I don't know if it makes sense, because I still do have.
Now I do get it, because I was thinking, how did we just, okay, now because we split it, so
Yeah, we did. Subnet means you're dividing things into equal parts, following the classical IP addressing. Like here, when you're dividing stuff into equal parts, following the classical IP addressing. Remember the classical IP addressing, A, B, C, D, E, but most of the time we use B and C, not a lot of A. B is /16, C is /24, and I kind of showed what the rows of these numbers, the beginning of the octets, what they signify. Like this one, 1 1, 0 signifies class C, 1 0 It's telling you that there's a high bit at the beginning of the octet. Simple. So now to start solving the problem, you already know you need 1, 2, 3. So that 1, 2, 3, you look here. Subnet. You look, where is, since I'm going to divide it into 3, that means 3 equals parts. So where is 3 here? There's no 3, but there's a 4. So in that 4, there is 3 inside. However, it's going to be too much nodes, but not that much as opposed to you're going to 8. And it's going to be less of host at 2. So you don't need 2. You need more is okay, so that you can use the host. Each of these subnet that you're going to get, 3 of them, they're going to have 64 hosts. In that 64 host, the first address goes to the network, that particular network, and then the broadcast will now be another part that you're not going to use. So you have 2 raised to power p minus 2 for useful host ID. So that's how you have the 62 here, all that host ID. So with that, you're going to have to develop the useful range, or useful host ID range, which I've shown here. That since you have a 001, the first network will start at 1 and 1 to 62. That tells you, what's next? 63. It got to be broadcast. You see? So when you count from 1 to 62 to 62, then the first network is 0. So from 0 to that, this is 64. So that one is solved. But now there's a new network here, 64. Remember here is telling us any new network has to have 64 split into 64. So you have the 64 here. Next network is 128. Next network is 192. But when you look at the 192, the broadcast should be this IP address minus 1 at the last update, which gives you 191. This is how you get all the broadcast address. Now, if you get the first broadcast here, which is 63, and you want to get the next one, you can add 64 to this one. Add 64 to each of them to get the next one. Or you can subtract 1 from the last octet here in the next network to get the broadcast. Now, Subnet max /26 is automatically given to us whenever we develop this table. So these are years of experience of what I know that I'm dropping on you guys. You guys didn't have to read all these big books because we compress the whole idea of what we know, what works, and we say, here, give it. You can have it now. So that's what we're doing here. We're making it so short and easy so that you can hit the ground running right away. So that's that. I don't know if anybody has any more questions.
I have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you, Janelle. Go ahead.
So if you have a class A and you want to subnet that into maybe, I'm trying to think because I had an example before, and it is okay, so if you have a class A, you need to get, I'm not going to give you like,
But slash A is so big. Let's find a class A IP address and work with that. Okay. Let's do.
Okay.
Let's do 10. No, not okay. Let's do 10. Yeah, because class A is not 0 to 127, so 10 is involved in there. So we do 10. Let me make it bigger. Okay, we do 10.0.0.0. This is like slash what? This is really huge. Let's say it's /32. We can solve this easily, but it's gonna be one big one. Let's say it's /31. Now remember the table that we have. Can somebody help me to set it up? You can look at what we already have, or we can just copy and paste what we already have. Not a big deal. So we can just copy the whole thing, all right, and get it done. Sorry about that. We can just view it. So we go, this is what we have, right? This is going to be a very big network. It's going to have millions of IP addresses. Okay? So we do /31, so we go really quick on this. I prefer to find where I have that instead of writing it over again. Just give me a moment here. It will not be smart to write it over again. Okay, let's download it. So this is the template you guys have to remember and memorize, so that once you have a problem, you plug it in here. So this IP is gonna be huge. Nobody's gonna they can ask you to split it, but you're gonna see how it's gonna pan out. You will now figure it out on your own, just by what we're about to do. You will see. Copy. So I wonder the size of that company to tell you to split this one up. But let's do it. Okay.
Yeah, let's just see how that goes.
No, I just wonder the size of the company, if you know what I mean. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what is the size of this company like? How big are they? Like, ooh, they must be really huge. So we go, let me take this up here first. Okay. It makes more sense now, this way. All right. So now we have /31, right? Right, guys? So now, what we have to take a look at is how many ways do they want us to split it up? That's what we have to look at right now. Janelle, are you saying they want you to split it up in 2, in 8, and 16? How many ways do they want you to split it up? Tell me.
So you need 126 subnets.
I gave you /31, but you know, it goes by how many ways you want to split it up.
32.
10? Okay, if you want to split it up in 10, we don't have 10, but we have 16, and we have 8. So we have to go by the 16. That means a lot of IPs will be lost, right? So if we go by 16, that means each of these IP address we have how many? 14. It's right here. Look at it right here.
Right, 14.
Okay, if we go here.
Right.
But it's gonna be many of them, right? We're gonna space it out. It's gonna take us some time. But this is how it's gonna be. And it's gonna be /28. It's not even gonna be /31 anymore, because they wanted to split it into 10. The closest is here. You were given /31. It doesn't, because this is how they want you to do it. They want you to split it into 10 different networks. Okay? But we don't have 10. We have 16. And 10 is inside the 16. All right? So since 10 is inside the 16, what we're going to do is we already know the network ID. And we're going to write the network ID down, which we're going to write it over here. We're going to follow the example that we already have, which is right here. Right? So I'm going to make it small. Is somebody late for class or something?
That's Charity, I think. She said she's having a hard time logging in. I told her she can just come in the way she was.
Yeah, she can just come in the way she was, but next time she have to correct that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just come in the way you were, Charity. Then next time you know better, correct it. So this is what we have for the network 0.0.0, right? This is what we have for the network. So they want us to split it into 10, but we have 16. So that means we can still split it into 10, but 16 networks is gonna go to waste. So I don't know if the splitting it in 10 is the best way, but if that's the requirement, then we're gonna do it. So in that case, we're gonna have 14 Somebody saying something?
Can somebody mute their microphone, please?
Oh,
Thank
can you
you.
mute the microphone? So we're gonna have 14. Since we're gonna have 14, remember what we did over here. We're gonna look at the useful range. Yeah? The useful range is gonna be from 1 to what? To 62. It never changes. The same. I mean from 1 to 14. 1 to 14. Catch me if I fall, guys. Now, the subnet, from what we see in the subnet, is slash what? Can somebody tell me? In the net subnet mask, what is it?
28.
Slash 28. There you go. And now,
Is
what do
it
we
one
see for?
to
Go ahead.
is it 1 to 13, Josiah?
Is 1 to 14 because it's 16 here. Look, remember the 2. You have to subtract 2, 1 for the first, and then
Sorry.
the broadcast. So now we
Okay.
move really fast to over here. So what will be the broadcast? Is that what you're telling me should be 13? Are you saying the broadcast will be 13?
No, I got mixed up because I thought there was 14 useful hosts, but it's 16 altogether, so I got mixed up. It's fine, I got it
Oh,
now.
okay, that's
So,
cool. Does anybody know what the broadcast IP address should be?
15.
Huh?
15.
Okay, 15. All right, cool. You got that. So now, with that being said, what should be the next network? Quickly, guys.
10.0.0.
The what?
16.
That's right.
16.
You got it. So 14 is still the same. So what should I write here for the range?
15 to hold on.
I'm not gonna say it. You guys know it. Remember what I said? You add whatever the size is to the broadcast IP, and you get the
To
net
30.
broadcast. And then if you add one, you get the other one. Come on.
29.
What did you say?
15 to 30.
15 to 30. Okay. Are you sure it's 15 to 30? Somebody should look into it.
Is it not 29?
31.
Are you guys sure?
I said 29.
That's right.
No, there's an error here. Somebody need to figure it out. Yeah, somebody figure it out fast. So what's the next broadcast IP here? 29. If the next broadcast IP is 29, this one should be 28,
28. Okay.
right? 28, right? This one is what? 29, right?
I think
Or
you wrote
31.
an
No,
18.
this one is 31. Sorry, guys. I think you guys are right. I just seen it. Yeah, this is 30. Edika, you said 30?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You got it. Next. This one is easy now, guys. Come on.
10.0.0.32.
Okay. 14 is the same. Now, what do we do here?
31 to 14. 47.
That's right. Remember, from here, 47.
Now, shouldn't that be 33?
This one here?
Right, because you started your network with 32.
Yeah, I started the
The range
network
should
at
be
32, yeah?
Right, so shouldn't the range be 33?
It will start from 31. Hold on. I think she had a point. It should be 33.
Right.
Yep, you started the network at 32. It should be 33. And then you ended up at...
And the one above should be 17.
This one should be 17. Yep,
Right.
you guys are getting it now. So everybody knows what's going on now. This is awesome. What about this one? Should be 17. Absolutely. Yeah, let me get rid of this quickly. Okay. This should be 17. Okay, 17. Yeah. Okay. Let me change it all of it completely. 17. Seems like everybody's paying attention now. Okay, 17. Okay. Then you add 16 to this one, you get a 31. You have 32. This one starts from 33, right? So you know the last one here is 33, 32. That means this one will go all the way to 30, which is very good. And then this one starts from 33. You add 16 to here, you're going to get what? 46, 47, isn't it? So this one will be 46, 47, right?
Okay.
Are you guys following?
So does that mean that the useful range will be 33 to 46?
Correct. That's it. The useful range would be 33 to 46 because 47 is the broadcast we don't use, and when you add 1 to the broadcast, you get the next network address. So this one here is going to be 46. I'm so happy you guys got it. Very soon you guys will be teaching me. Can somebody tell me? Huh?
Not for a very long time yet.
No, I don't think so. Technology made learning easy. We have to do these things manually when we started. Imagine how easy. Do you know how many books you are reading here? If I tell you, you will be like, whoa. You're reading over 10 books here with this lesson, but you don't know. I will show you the books I read when I started. You'll be like, whoa. But now technology's made it simple. You didn't have to have a headache that we used to have to go through to do the subnet and all of that. Okay, can somebody help me with this one?
48.
There you go. She said it just like an English person. Okay, let's move on. Tell me, what do I start with here? We do it up to 5, okay? And we go on with our business of the day.
49.
Just because I said it doesn't mean it's correct. So what is it? Is it 49, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. So if some of you guys are faster than others, I noticed, can somebody tell us what's next? You can do that by playing with the broadcast. If you play with the broadcast right, you can get what's next. You add 16 to this.
53.
Yeah, this one is 63 for the broadcast. Now, with that being said, what is the range of the useful IP now? useful
49 to
ID.
62.
What?
49 to 62.
Absolutely, got that right. So now if we keep doing that, we will split it up to what the requirement was asked of Janelle at her place of work. And she will be the champ that she is when she solved the problem. And you say, hey, look, you can split it in 10, but each network will have this much IPs, and they will call her a champion. So we do this. Can somebody help me with the next one?
64.
There you go. And you guys know we can do this all the way to 254, right? So it's going to take a long time.
No, you're fine. That's all I wanted to know, like for Class A. I'm good.
Okay, you good now? So for
Yes,
this
I'm
one,
good.
okay. What about our guys? Everybody good? Well, you add 16 here, you have 73, and you have
17.
79, right? Right?
Yes,
So what
sir.
do we have here?
78.
78, thank you. Okay, so I'm happy now everybody got it. We good. So this is what we did today. I will push this out there for you guys. As long as you guys know what we did, is slash 28 all the way. So I'm gonna cross it out and show you that it's slash 28. It's gonna go all the way down. Oh, there's the size. So we'll post it up there for everyone to see. So let's proceed with the lesson of today. Now to proceed, we are going to do a couple of things. We're gonna revisit Powershell, and I'm gonna introduce not something new, but something where you can write the script. Because sometimes when you have a script to write in a PowerShell, it's one line, one line, one line, one line. You don't want to do that. You want to actually copy whatever script you find online that you want to modify, and you paste it right here, so that instead of going one line, one line, one line, you can run the whole script at once. So because of that, always remember to configure your AWS CLI default configuration, including your access keys, secret keys, region, etc., etc. So when you want to run these things, for example, if you look at the commandlet that I'm using here, I found that commandlet here. I went here and I type write S3 and I choose the one I want. I want to write object. I want to write object to AWS S3 bucket, and then I click on that and it gives me that. So I look for the parameters that I needed, or the variables that I need, like bucket name. I know what mine is, and key in this case refers to a folder, and I'm looking at region. This is standard for the region for S3 buckets. I'm in Virginia area, so that's what I get. And now this is file, pretty much the file. You just have to make sure that there's something in a folder where the file is at. So this one is a sample of how you can upload an empty folder. So I wanted to demonstrate we've done this one already. This is the one where we uploaded a picture or a document or whatever to AWS Cloud. This is the one, and this is the one where we uploaded. Okay, this is not just the one where we uploaded the picture, but we did that in a folder. But this one here is uploading everything that's in the folder to the cloud, and this one is an empty folder. So to demonstrate that, I'll go ahead and go to the AWS cloud immediately and pull something up, something that you are familiar with. It's nothing new. We're just gonna pull it up real quick. So the reason why I'm doing this is I want you to start learning and doing things on your own. See, I can't be holding hands all the time. So these are some of the stuff that we created from the past, but now I'm gonna get rid of all of them because we're gonna run some of these commandlets that we have. And I try to encourage you guys to read our book or our guide so that you can have some theoretical understanding of what we're doing. I do post stuff there from time to time. I try to explain that PowerShell is pretty much a way a logical way of, using commandlets to be able to interact with the cloud or any other operating system. Initially, it was predominantly for Microsoft. Over time, now you see it being applied to the cloud. And I must tell you, it's not going anywhere. It's going to be there for a long time. For those of you that learn this scripting language, which is also object-oriented programming language, well, you can apply object-oriented programming skills to it to make it do amazing things. And there are many groups out there you can join to help you enhance your skill set. I have posted some of this group, and I want you guys to join it, especially the Tech Soup. I want you guys to join Tech Soup and be a part of it. You can get any script you want, or anybody have asked you to deliver at work. You can get it there and modify it to what you want. This is not a joke, it's real. And that's what I need you guys to be noticing, how you can effectively use it to better your life, to get a better job, to apply it in activities or things that you are doing. PowerShell is not going anywhere. It is going to be here to the end of computer life. I have seen it when I started my career. It was a WMIC stuff that we are playing with, VB and all of that. Before I know it, it took over everything Microsoft is doing. PowerShell became very powerful and is being used today in the cloud, not only in AWS. Azure uses it, and many other places uses PowerShell because of how powerful it's become. It's bridging the gap between a scripting language and object-oriented language. That's what it's doing. That's why I recommend that you guys download PowerShell ICE as one of the tools that you have so that you can do amazing things with scripts. You can actually turn the script into object-oriented programs. Okay? So moving forward, I'm not saying that what we are doing is not a script. It's still a script, but from here we'll expand and we'll be doing other object-oriented programming. Some of the samples of object-oriented programming you can find, and we will write some in the future, in the nearest future. There's some I'm working on. So now that I have cleared everything that's on here, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to go backwards. Let's create a folder with nothing in it. Let's upload a folder with nothing in it. Okay. Write S3 objects is inbuilt in PowerShell as a commandlet. What it does is it will write stuff based on the permission that you have given it right here. It will write stuff to S3 buckets specifically for this one. Write S3 object is telling it to write the S3 bucket that you have up there. So it's looking at S3 bucket as an object. That's what it says, write S3 object. And you specify that S3 object, which in this case is a folder that we created. And it has a key, which in this case, the key we are referring to is actually the name of the folder. And the region we are referring to is US East 1. Previously, I have done my configuration for default AWS. I have done my all my configuration for it initially. So now when I run this, as you can see right here, when I run it, it's going to create an empty folder here. In this case, I have to refresh it. Once I refresh it, you are going to see an empty Xtemp folder here. See, it's empty as I opened it. There are no objects on this path. However, this will change real quickly. If I go back to here and I go to the folder uploads, this time around I want to upload that folder with something in it, meaning everything in that folder will go up there. So I'll run this. When I run that, I go back here, I refresh it. Once I refresh it and I go back, see, Xtemp, I click on it. Okay. Actually, it's temp, sorry. So everything that was in that folder, Xtemp was the first one, the empty folder, guys. You guys paying attention?
Yes, yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So this is the one that has everything in it. The Xtemp was the first one, if you remember. I can show you also on the editor. So this is it right here, so you can see. All right. So now this is the individual one that we already did, where we uploaded just a file. So I can also run it again. It's just a commandlet and some objects that were put together and variables that were put together. And now once I run that and I go over here and I pretty much do that, refresh it. Once I refresh it, you see the one that I just uploaded. These are some of the stuff you need to know. You need to go there and upload. You also will have to learn how to download it if you need it. You need it to do so in a programmatical way. If you don't want to do it GUI or you want to use it to download stuff, then we can also work on that. But with this being said, you have an overview of how this is done as far as manipulating files for upload. So we've taken care of this. And now you know about PowerShell, you know the DOS command line, you know about AWS CLI, you know about PowerShell. Now you know about PowerShell ICE, which is integrated software editor. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce you guys to yet another tool for our lesson of today. We are going to learn Python. I promised you guys to give you an overview of Python, and I want you guys to download something called Mu. It's called Mu. The reason why I want you to download Mu is this. I will show you. Okay, I will show you. So if you go to CMD, for those of you that downloaded Python the traditional way, so when you go to CMD and you type Python, it's going to show you the CMD for it, which means that we have downloaded it and we have also put Python in environmental variables so that whenever we run a Python program, it will go to the bin file and execute Python, the part that interprets what we are trying to tell it. I'll give you an example of what could be a problem why we need the mu. Let me find a good example. Why we need the mu. Okay, I'll go to the book, a byte of Python. I'm going to go to the book, a byte of Python. Let's go to the book, a byte of Python. And we go from there. A byte of Python was written by an Indian kid about 10 years ago. It was a very good book written to simplify Python. Python is like speaking English language. It's not that complicated. The beginner in programming should take on Python immediately. And once somebody like Natalie will actually love Python, I think she will come up to be very, very good at it. Because the way she thinks, it will be very helpful to her. Now, these are some of the stuff that let's look at the first step. Have you guys all installed Python? Hello?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Everybody installed Python, okay. Now, if everybody have installed Python, let's do this. I will just go and say print. I'll just say welcome all. I'll close it. You see what it says there, welcome all, right? Did you see it? I told him welcome all. I wrote a code and I said welcome all, and then when I did the same thing that I told him that I want to do. You guys see what I did there?
Yes.
Okay, you guys see it. All right. Now let's do a couple of more interesting things. Let's look at the literal constants. Okay, let's look at an example of literal constants is like a number 5, 1.23, or a string like this is a string or it is a string, all that kind of stuff. So basically you can use single quotes or double quotes for a string. So if I say print like as you see here. Okay, if I say print, you can't use capital for it. Okay, you just say print. You do it like this. You have to put it in the parentheses. You can use double quotes, and you can say this is a string. This is what they call literal constants. Okay, this is a string, or is it a string? You can do it like this. Sometimes people close it up with you put that there, showing that you have closed that line. People do that, but you can also leave it like that, and it will still be the same thing. Okay. Now, in code, in programming languages, some programming languages requires that you compile it. Python doesn't require. That's why it's like we are writing a letter. It's just like we are writing a letter. The computer finds it so easy because the interpreter is not compiling anything just like it does. The high-level languages. Python is a high-level language, but it acts like it's not, in the sense that it's not. It doesn't have a compiler, and it's so close to the hardware in a sense. Okay, it's so close to the hardware in a sense, but it's a high-level language at the same time. So, for instance, if I say x is equal to 5, so I give that a variable. So that means whenever I type x, what's gonna show up? Hello? Hello? Are you guys with me? So whenever I type x, what's gonna show up, guys? Hello? Oh. Are you guys there with me? Oh yeah, my network is bad now. My network is bad. Nobody can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Where did you guys lost me?
When we were doing this is a string, that was the last thing I wrote down. We did print, this is a string, and
Okay,
then
this
this
is a string, and I declared a variable. I declared a variable x is equal to 5. Did you guys see that?
I didn't see it the first time.
We're
Okay.
seeing it now.
Okay,
I'm
x is
sorry,
equal to
yeah.
5. I declared a variable. It goes from left to right. So you have a variable x and you have 5. That means take 5 and put it into x. Is assigning 5 to x is not equal to like if I want to, like, every time I type x now, what's going to show up, guys? What showed up?
Equals 5?
Exactly. Every time I type that, that's going to show up. 5 is going to show up because I took 5 and I put it in place of that variable x. So it goes from left to right. Okay, so this is called literal because it is a literal. You use it value literally. The number 2 always represent itself and nothing else. It is a constant because its value cannot be changed. Hence, all these are referred to as literal constants. So when I declared the x is this, that's what it is, and I said maybe z is 1.23. That looks like a double, and then I said that actually that's a float. Or any other stuff that I wrote, that's what it means. Now, take for example for numbers. When it comes to numbers, you have the integers. Okay? In the integers, these are numbers that are not divisible. I mean, these are numbers that are not decimal in the sense of they have they are not decimal numbers in the sense that they are not floating point numbers or double. They are just integers, meaning they are whole numbers, whether they are even number or negative numbers. They are just whole number. Okay, so you have floating point numbers, or float for short. These numbers are like 2.32, 2.45, or sometimes you have a scientific notification behind them, like you have 1.25 capital E -4, which means raised to power 10 raised to power 4, right? So the E notation indicates power of 10. Like for instance, if we say that Z is equal to, like equal to this, let's say 5.25. This is a floating point number, and we say E -2. Let's see what we get. Okay, we get. Okay, sorry. Let me just assign it because of that literal that I have. Let's see what we get. So when I type Z now, see what I get? See what I get? Are you with me, guys?
Yes, A.0534.
Exactly. But Z now is 0.0534 because E raised to power E -2 means 10 raised to power -2, guys. So that
Yes.
means you have to move it. You have to move it back twice. You have to move it, like you have to take the decimal place and move it 2 times forward. That means you have 0.0534. So what I'm trying to show you here is, even Python understands this kind of notation. Okay, Python understands this kind of notation. All right. So for instance, when we're looking at a string, like I said before, you can use a single quote or double quote to signify that it's a string. Like this could be a string literal. Like you can say, well, you can say, like you can do this. Call me later. You can do that. Okay. But you just can't write that in Python. You have to command it to do something. Like you can command for it to show this on the console. You can say print call me later. So you can put your full stop here, and don't forget your parentheses, like that, and you can go like that, and you say it will display call me later in the console. You see? So you also have triple quotes. You can also use triple quotes to do the same thing. Triple quotes in the sense of like this. Let me show you. Okay, this is an example of triple quote, how you can use it. So if you have a quote inside something and you want to use triple quote, and you have a quote inside something, this is when you use triple quote. I will show you like that. You see? This is a multi-line. You see triple quote right here? And this is the first line. This is the second line. What's your name? I asked. He said, Bond. James Bond. So this is double quote, but they are using triple quote here. This is the end of the triple quote. If you notice, it is requesting that we do more stuff. See, it's not like this one that just, displayed what we wanted it to display, or this one that just displayed what we wanted it to display. Because of problems like this, you need mu. You need something like this. So if you go print, okay, the same thing we did before. If you did it here, and you would paste this here, okay, and I don't even have to use these ones. I'll just write. Let me just copy and paste it from here. Okay, we just do this. Okay, we'll see what we get. Okay, da. So now we close it. So you guys noticing quite a few things. So there's built-in formatting for Python sometimes. As you can see here, it did that there. So here, let's see what we get. So we're gonna hit enter. You see what we get? Now it displayed it. But here, it didn't display it because it wants us to do more stuff. And as you can see, this is one liner, line by line. But this one takes more. That's why I would recommend that you get this one. There's also another one you need to get. It's called PyCharm Editor. PyCharm Editor is more like robust. We'll get to that one a little later. But you guys can prepare yourself by downloading all these tools that you need to make your work easier. This one is one-liner. It's a CMD. But this one does a lot more stuff than you can even imagine. So let's talk about strings. Is somebody saying something? Can you mute yourself, please? Okay. So let's talk about strings. Strings are immutable, meaning you can't just go and change a string. Okay? So this means that once you have created a string, you cannot change it. Although this might seem like a bad thing, it really isn't. We'll see why this is not limitation in the various program that we see later on. So in C++, if you know how to write C++, you do know about character, right? These are data type. Okay? But in Python, there's no separate character data type in Python. So in C, you have different data types. In Python, it doesn't work like that. In Python, like you can make anything be anything. You can make a character be an integer be a character, float point double, or whatever. You see, that's very flexible language. So if you're a PHP programmer, so you have to remember that there are single quote strings and double quote strings are the same. They do not differ in any way. So in Python, it's still the same thing. So in Python, there's no data type differences, so you make it work. All right. So let's do an interesting stuff here. Let's look at the format methods. Okay. So we're gonna use the format function to do something. So sometimes we want to construct strings from other information. So this is where the format method is useful. So we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna take some information about ourselves, and we're gonna put it down and save it, which we cannot do on CMD, except if we go to a notepad. For CMD, you can go to a notepad, but I like to use Notepad++. That's one of the tools that I use. You can do this in CMD, but the downside with it is you have to put the file together. Like, you see, you have to paste whatever you want. Like here, age, let's say age could be anything. 46, name, Josiah, and then we say print 0 was 1 years old when he wrote this book. So what is going on there? So we're trying to format this in a certain pattern. So we're trying to format the 0 there is a part of something. It's a string array, almost like string array. So you have that we're trying to say 0, which is a part of an array. We're trying to say that is print this was that years old when he wrote this book. So the format function here is saying name and age. If you look, it's like almost an array, like something in a box of 12. This is a box of 2. You see, it's saying this is 0, this one is 1. All right, so print, this is the name. All right, if you look carefully here, there's a single quote here that shows you this is what I want you to do, but this is the function I'm using to have you do it. Now I'm gonna say, tell the computer, please print whatever is in this parenthesis is what I want you to print, but don't forget to use the format function. When you see format name, so the input, when you see format function, the argument is the name, and the name is already known, and that same name is also found here again, as we have already defined it here as the beginning of whatever that's in here. Okay, so you look at this as an array. Okay, it contains, it's a string, it's ordered, okay, and it contains that information. And the way Python works, it doesn't really work too technical as other languages. Like other languages, we look at this as an array, and that's an index beginning of an array, which the length of an array is -1 of the size of the array itself. But in this case, it has a simple way of doing things, which makes Python very, very powerful. So now what we're going to do, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So to run this from CMD, we can save it as, and I'll find a folder where we can save it where I'm familiar with, so I can always find it. So what I'm gonna save it in C, a folder that I prepared for this. And that's the same folder that I'm using to upload stuff, which in the future we'll have a lot of stuff uploaded for you guys to use. So let me do this quickly. Okay, here I'm gonna upload it here in a temp file or Xtemp. Maybe I should use the Xtemp one. IJM. Okay. Let's just do, yeah, let's do this one. That's okay. I'll just save it here and I'll call it string.py. Okay. See. Maybe format string.py. Let me call it that. Format. How you format stuff in Python. Okay. So you notice I put .py there, so he knows it's a Python file. So this is saved here. You can, yeah, that's saved. So if I want to run this now, I'm already on where is that? So I can do a Control X here. I mean Control Z. Control. No. Should be Control. Okay. All right, fine. Just do exit function. It should go away. Use exit function. I thought it was ordinary CMD, but it's not. Sorry guys. Just use exit function. It will go away. When you write too many languages, sometimes confuse it. So now we go to our CD temp. Remember, I've put it in temp. I do ls. I do dir for Windows. I see it there. So you see, it's right there here. So if I want to run it now, what I would do is I would do Python. Okay. I will do format string, right? .py. If it's good, it will just run. So can you guys see what it's saying? Can somebody read it, please?
Josiah was 46 years old when he wrote this book. Why is Josiah playing with that Python?
Okay. You guys can do the same thing. So I'm not playing with the Python. I'm just trying to, get the best out of the Python. So that's that. So how it basically works, I'm going to try to explain it to you guys. A string can use certain specification and subsequently the format. The format function is a very huge one. So that method, some people call it function, and when I was studying C++, I thought that it's a method. Then when I was doing Java, when I was doing C++, it's a member function or function. When I was doing Java, I started hearing about method, and then they said method and functions are the same thing. So now observe the first usage where we use the zero in little curly braces. That corresponds to the variable name. You see, it corresponds to that variable name. I want you to understand and see that it corresponds to that variable name, which is the first argument to the format function. Remember our format function? Remember? Our format function is like this. It's something like this: format, and we have this, and we have, we have functions are usually like this in any programming language, okay? And you have a name. This is the first object argument in that method. And you have what? Age. So this is what we were using. This is what we're using to perform that miracle. Let me go ahead and open it up and show you guys again. You see it's right here? So this is the method right here. In that method, you have the function. In that method, you have the function, and the first argument in that function is name. So it symbolizes a 0. And the second argument is age. It symbolizes a 1. So that's why we have 0, 1. See? 0, 1. See how nice and simple Python is? And any one of you can write a good code with Python. All right? So let's move forward. So the zeros and 1 corresponds to what? The variable names, the variable name and age. Name is 0, age is 1, and we put it in curly braces, and we put it right there. Okay? So now Python starts counting from 0, which means that first position is at index 0, and the second position is at index 1, and so on and so forth. So notice that we could have achieved the same thing using string concatenation. So what is string concatenation? Let's do it now. You'll see what it is. So for string concatenation, we have, it's very simple. Whose name are we going to use to do this? It's a one-liner, so we can do it here. Whose name are we going to use to do it? Okay.
Can use Janelle.
We can use this. It looks like a one-liner to me, so we can do it all at once. So let's define name, Janelle. Let's say name is equal to the string. Remember, you can do double quotes or one of those. See? So that's done. Let's define age. You don't have to tell us your real age, please. So we can do, maybe we can do 18 or 19. Let's do 19.
Prefer not to.
Let's do 19. She's 19. Always 19.
Yeah. How about 21? That's good.
So we're gonna do print. Remember, print is an inbuilt function too. So when we're doing print, we always remember that it's an inbuilt function as well. You can use single quotes here. So what you want to do now is you want to do since we declared the two, the first and but we didn't use the argument though in this case. So why don't we use the argument? Let's use the argument somewhere, so that way when we concatenate the string it will make sense. Yeah, let's use the argument somewhere here. So since we declared this and declared that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the argument now. It's a one-liner now, guys. So we do print. That's why I don't like it this way. I like to use mu, or I like to write it in a notepad and save everything up first, and then I move from there. So we do the parentheses again. We know what 0 is. 0 is Janelle's name, right? We say she was what? She was age, right? Which in this case, that age is like 1, isn't it? Right?
Right.
We make it really short. We just make it years old. We're not gonna say she wrote anything. We're just gonna close it off, and we're just gonna do dot format. See that format function will now recognize that 0 and 1. Without the format function, the 0 and 1 is a waste of time. So we close it. That's closed. So when we type this, you see Janelle was 19 years old. This is a one-liner. That's why I don't like it so much. So that means we type it one after the other, one after the other. It has its own limitation. So now we're gonna do y is parenthesis 0, right? Janelle. We're not gonna say she's studying because we know she's not playing with the Python, she's studying the Python language. Yeah, she wanna get the best out of it. Now remember, we have to close it off and put that function so that way it will recognize that name, which is an argument of initially introduced in that function. And now we close that and we go, see, why is Janelle studying the Python language? Now, when we go and do the concatenation of the name, now it makes sense. Concatenation of the name is like putting all of them together in a short, easier way. So now when you go and you say name, let's see what happens. Name is go plus string, remember, age, and then you concatenate again. Concatenate is putting things in the same, together in the same row. That's what it means, concatenate. When you hear that in programming language, that's what it means. Now, in other languages that I know, you have to actually set a space, but in Python, you don't have. You have to have a literal to show that it's a space, but in Python, you don't have to do that. So you see how we concatenated it? Janelle is 19 years old. If you notice, after the 19, there was a space here. Okay, but if you notice, after the name, there is no space between the is and the 19. You notice that? Do you notice that? So it's being concatenated. Okay? So, but that is it's very ugly the way we did it. And this is error prone the way we did it. Second, the conversion to string will be done automatically by the format method instead of the explicit conversion of the string needed in the case. Third, when using the format method, we can change the message without having to deal with the variables used and vice versa. Also note that the numbers are optional. Okay, so you could have also written it in a different way. You could have just written it without putting the numbers and it will still be the same thing. So let's try that. So if we start from fresh, 0, okay? If we go like this, okay, we go Janelle. We go like that, right? So now we go the first print. No, we go print. We could just have that empty because you already know the arguments, right? And we go like that. It's gonna still give you the same thing because it doesn't see anything. That function there has recognized the name and the age. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to do the next one. If you notice, I'm stringing along and I'm taking out that there to prove the point. Still the same thing. Okay, so it will give. So basically, in Python, it will still give you the same thing. Okay, so we can also name the parameters. Again, we can also name the parameters. Those empty spaces, we can go ahead and put name in there and actually call it what they are. But But however, when we do it this way, we have to go to the functions and also declare what they are. Like for instance, if we go here, y is name, right? We already know that the name is Janelle, so we put name here. But in this function here, we have to put what the name is, because the name is an argument in the function, right? So we have to do name is equal to name. This is how Python is. Python is a very interesting language, very logical, very simple, makes life easy for every one of us. You see, so there are up to 3 ways you can do this. Up to 3 ways, and all of them are giving you the same answer. So that's why I encourage you guys to learn Python. Keep learning Python, never stop. Go ahead and blaze your trail, figure out what to do with it. Even if you think I omitted something, you can bring it up and we can study more of it. So that before we go home, there's something I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to pique you guys' interest so you can have a logical way of looking at what we are doing. I don't want you guys to be lazy. There's never been a time better than this time. All my life. You guys are very fortunate. Science has grown so much that it started simplifying things. Believe you me, nobody's gonna be scared of any engineer anymore or scientist. Because if somebody goes into their room and say, you know what, in the next 4 years I'm gonna stay in this room and study anything I need to know about a particular field in engineering, believe you me, when they come out, they're gonna be better than somebody that went to school. That's what science and technology have done for us, and we have to recognize that. So now, I think I should help you guys with something interesting to pique your interest. I think it's called our Fibonacci sequence. Let me see if I have it here up so we can look at it and look at the arguments, how it can help us in our thinking process so we can understand how these people that write code, what are they thinking when they're writing code and all that kind of stuff. All right, so I will find a code, a problem, a simple problem that is known out there in the world of coding, and I'm gonna play with it with you guys, and we're gonna do great. And that will give you guys an overview of what is really going on when somebody's saying, oh, it's logical, I'm gonna write a code, I'm gonna make sure it's logical and people understand what I'm writing. So I found this thing online and I want to share it with you guys. By explaining it to you guys, I think I would have done a lot of work. If I can explain it to you guys, I would have done a lot of work. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
So I'm gonna go ahead and comment this out, and then I'm gonna paste this one. It's called Fibonacci sequence. Fibonacci sequence is a very popular mathematical sequence that everybody knows. I don't know who at all knows this, or is it only me? Is there anybody here that knows about Fibonacci sequence?
No, I haven't seen that before.
You never heard of Fibonacci sequence? All right. The mathematicians came up with the idea that the way the plants grow, the flowers grow, has a lot to do with Fibonacci sequence, their structure, the dimension, to be precise, is God's number, is using God's number. So there's a way their diameter is, and that is being used in building today, is used in engineering a lot, Fibonacci sequence, in making sure that things are symmetrical. So I chose this because I wanted to go through it, the arguments of formulating it, so that we all can benefit and see how those who write code, how they think. Now, for Fibonacci sequence, there's some interesting things that happen with Fibonacci sequence. Me being very, very versed in some understanding in mathematics, I will go ahead and give my explanation of it. But before I do, I'd like to copy this and post it up for you guys to see. I hope you guys are enjoying this because I try to make it as simple as possible, and I don't know if it's getting across that way. Is it getting across that way?
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you very much. So now, let's do this quick before we get out of here. Okay. It's not hard. It's very simple. So I'm gonna do my best to make sure you guys get it. So I want to paste this thing here for you guys. It's gonna be in the text resources. That's Janelle's question. I'm gonna put it there. Janelle asked how we can break up, subnetting into 10 departments, right? So that's what we did here. Subnetted it into 10 departments. We did that, and it works perfectly well for us. And now we're moving into something else. The reason why I'm doing this here is to pique your interest, to show you that you can do this, man. I don't think it's hard at all. So in Fibonacci sequence, this is how it works. In Fibonacci sequence, we take the first two terms. So for those of us that have done math to some level, you know when they say nth term, what they're referring to. When somebody say nth term, so it means that it's going all the way maybe to infinity is an n term, which in this case n could be equal to or less than a particular number. Maybe let's say 15.
Is it the 3414444 something one? Is it that number?
It's sort of like the first sequence is the first two sequences is what we're gonna go with. We go 0 and we go 1. Now after this, the next sequence would be this plus this, which is 1. And after that, the next sequence will be this plus this, which is 2. And after that, the next sequence will be this plus this, which is 3. And after that, the next sequence will be this plus this, which is 5. And after that, the next sequence will be this plus this, which is 8. And after that, the next sequence will be this plus this, which is 13. And so on and so forth. That makes sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
All right. Now, after that, the next sequence will be this, this, and this. So you could be asked to write the code whereby we want you to give us Fibonacci sequence for maybe 15. Okay? 15 terms. So for 15 terms, we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for 15 terms, we need 7 more, right? So that means we have to do this. This one gives us 21. Then we go back and we do this. And this one gives us what? 37. And then we do this. We have to do it till we get n equal to 15. So in this case, you have a variable called count.
Josiah,
Go ahead.
it should be 13 plus 21, right?
It should be 21 plus, no, it's 34.
Okay.
This should be 34. You're right. You got me there. Yeah. So it should be 34, like 13 plus 21. So you should have 34, right? That's what you meant, right?
Yes.
Then you have this. So if you have this, you have 55. 55. So you have to do this till you get to the 15th term for the question you have been asked for. But apparently, we have this code. This is the code we're going to analyze. So we're going to analyze this code based on a lot of what we've learned, and we're going to use our mind to go inside this code and try to see if you understand it. If you notice, I don't show you everything. I just make you dive into it because I want you to be in a hot seat and start thinking, how do I solve this problem? So we have a n terms, which is a variable. This n term here could be anything, but in this case, what is it? Can somebody tell me what it is?
Is it an integer?
Is it 15?
No. Look at it carefully. The answer is there. Remember, I told you guys in Python the way it is that anything, it doesn't have data type, but you can declare anything whichever way you want it. But in this case, you are looking at strings, not a number, and you have an int. What is that?
Is it in 15?
No. Somebody said the right thing, but they were scared. They didn't want to come out and say it.
Are you saying it's an integer?
That's an integer. So you have n terms, and before you solve any problem, the programming problem, you have to solve it here first. Solving it here first, you saw the first two terms. The first two terms is n0 and n1. These are given. You saw it right here. One is 0 and one is 1. Okay, one is 0, one is 1. All right. So now, based on the solution of the Fibonacci sequence, you identify the first sequence, which is always going to be 0 and 1. And then the next one will always be the first one plus the next one. In this case, n1 equal to n2. That makes sense? The first one will always be equal to the next one. So after taking the first two sequence, you know the next one will be this equal to this one. And after that, what happens to all the nth terms? This is the secret here. So if you say that this one is n1, and you say that this one is n1, and you say that this one is n2, so then the n term is this one plus this one, which is n2. So if n1 is equal to n2, so all the time this is going to be n1 is n1 and n2. Then when you add it together, you get the next one. When you add it together, you get the next one. You see how logic works, how they trick us, and they give us always the right answers. You see? Do you guys see that? Did somebody see what's going on here?
So I believe H2 is an N.
N2 is just saying number.
Yes.
Number
Yes.
two, N2, N1, nth to the nth meaning whatever number to whatever you want it to end. This one means any number to whatever you want it to end. Let me highlight it again. This is any number to whatever you want it to end. Okay, this one is the first sequence, which is this one. This one now is the second sequence, which is this one. See? Now, we're saying that if you assign the the second one to the third one to the second one. If you take this and assign it to this one, then the n term will be n1 plus n2, because this one is n1, this one is n2. You add them together, you get the next one. That simply means for the next number, always adding this one together to get the next one. Add this one together to get the next one. Add this one together to get the next one. Because of what we did here. Because of this assignment, changes everything. We said that you assign n2 to n1 after you identified the first two sequence. Once you do that, you must keep a count. There is an inbuilt count function in Python. You can start from 0 value with it. That means if you do the first calculation, it counts it. That's where you get how many times you want to go. So the question will be, solve a Fibonacci number for 10 terms. Solve a Fibonacci number for 20 terms. And let's solve it for 15 terms and see what we're going to get. And then from there, we can think of how to make everything work. So once we see the result we're getting, then we'll be inspired to do something great. Right, guys? What do you guys think?
I think it's pretty good.
Thank you.
A little confusing, yeah.
Okay, tell me where is it confusing? Show me.
So you're saying you're assigning N1 to N2.
Sorry, it's just the coding to get it to work is where I'm a little bit stuck.
Oh, can you repeat that again, please?
The rule of how to get the numbers N1 and 2, that bit makes sense. It's just the coding of how to put that in for it to show up in Python. That's where I'm a little bit lost.
Oh, you don't have to get it now. You have to understand the rules first. If
Okay.
you understand the rules, now you declare your variables. You say, oh, my n term is this, my this is that, my this is that. Then you have to get it in order. You have to have the logical sense of it before you do anything. But let's run the code and see what we get.
Okay.
Is Edicon there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So maybe I made a mistake. Yeah, I've saved it as. Is it a format street? Okay, I did comment. I commented this one out. I don't know why it's showing me that. Okay, let me cancel out. Let me exit this. Okay, let me exit that. Okay, go dir. Maybe something is still saved up in the memory. And it's okay. Format straight up pi, right? Why is it running this? But how many terms? I commented this out, so you can see here. It's commented out. It's commented out just like this. It's commented out. That's commented out. Alright. Let's see. There's another way to do this. Alright. We can do it somewhere else. We can do it in mu. Let's do this in mu. If it doesn't work, then I'll leave it for you guys to get it done. Let's go to mu and get this done. This is mu right here. We'll paste this in mu. Yeah, this is mu. We're gonna run it. I'm gonna hit enter. It's within an indent. So another thing I remember to tell you, Python needs indentation. You can't make a mistake in the indentation. They are very pesky with this indentation. Okay, let me go and take a look and see where we went wrong. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, end term. This end term. It doesn't have closing braces. That's another way to do it. Don't worry, guys. I got your back. There's a gazillion ways to do stuff nowadays, guys. I think I will figure it out. That's what I do. Figure things out. All right, I'm gonna find another way, an easier way for you guys to do it. As a matter of fact, I think that's a website I sent you guys. Yep, that you can do it on that website. Let me see. All right, I think I found it. So I'll show you guys that. So here, if you look here, it declared the end terms. It's an integer. So it's asking you to input. Input is also a method. How many terms is asking you? Remember, it says an integer right here. So that means this input method that's asking you this question, once you put an integer, it will take that integer as your number of end terms that you want. End terms meaning how many calculations of Fibonacci sequence that you want. Right, guys? So that's what that is. So once you get the terms, then you are set. Now you want to get your first two terms, which is n1, n2, which is lined up here for you. Okay. Normally, Python requires that you do you close it out with this syntax closing like that. Even for this one, like that, like that. So this one, the same thing. It requires, sometimes it doesn't, like I demonstrated it to you guys. You can leave it like that. But since mine is not working right now, I want to do it this way to see why, to see if it'll work. Okay, so I'll go back again, copy this, and try to put it on the other one before I go ahead and do it on this one for you guys. Don't worry, we get it done. We have about 5 minutes to get it done, and I'm not scared, and you shouldn't be scared either. So we're gonna run this code. Okay, so nt is equal to that. In that case, n1, I've already shown that n1, oh, there's something missing here. Okay, n1 is equal to n2, colon syntax, and then n2 is equal to the nth, and then you have to keep the count. The count is the inbuilt. Remember, you want to count to a certain number, which is the end term, so it keeps count for you. So this is what we got here. So the logic is set properly now. So the end time is n1 plus 2, and then you have to update so you can calculate the next ones. I think this here should be here. You have to update so you can calculate the next one. To update to get the next one, that means n1 has to be equal to n2. If n1 is equal to n2, then n2 has to be not equal to, like, assign a value of nth. So that's the case. So these are constants right here. You can't just change them unless you really need to change them. You can't just change them from what we've learned. So now I'm gonna go back to mu, which is here, and I'm gonna paste it back up again and see if we pass or if we failed. So please enter positive integer. Oh, print. What might be missing here, guys? N times input. How many terms? Okay.
I think you have to indent the print. If print, I think that's indent, right?
So
Like
there's
if,
an indentation somewhere here that I'm missing, but it's saying file line 11. Okay, let's go to line 11. For
so if, we'll go back, if you have if end terms equals, and then you indent under print, and then elif, and then print. Those should be indented, else and while, I thought.
Elif end times, then indentation is this. Assumption is given to this as the indentation. Then you print
So that's the
Fibonacci sequence
indentation.
up to end terms. But then it's asking us for end terms, but then it's going here and it's telling us that please enter a positive integer, but indentation error expected. Oh, an indented block. I wonder where that is.
So somewhere along there, your if statement.
If end times. Maybe I should remove all of this. Okay, let's try it again. Let's try it over here at the one that I saved. Okay, guys? Let's try it at the one I saved. See that one goes. I don't know why, but I don't give up easily though.
Now, for your elif, do you need to have a colon there too, or no?
So I think my
Yeah,
problem is
like, so you have-
indentation. Indentation is the problem. So this one is well indented here. This one is better indented. And last time I didn't save it either. So I think we should be okay now. Okay, guys? Remember last time I didn't save it and I was asking, what did I do wrong? But I didn't save it. How many terms? We go 15 terms.
15.
And then, there you go. So we got 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. We got to 55. Then it did 89, 144, 233, and 377 for us. So I'm going to paste this code for you guys. You have 3 ways to do it, and I want you guys to play with it and come up with better ways and just do whatever crazy stuff you like to do with Fibonacci number. If you like, spew out 1,000, 1 million. That will make you understand the power of computing. Okay? It will start to make you understand, oh my goodness, this is what I've been missing all my life. Look at that. Beautiful. You can create amazing things with the numbers that it spews out. This 100,000 that I spewed out, you know? You know? Imagine what you could create with this. Let's say 100. How beautiful it's gonna show. See? How beautiful it showed. See? This digit is missing by 1. 111. Look at how beautiful that is.
Josiah,
Go ahead.
I was just thinking because you said God's number, so we could probably create like our family, like going back with this number. I just thought about it.
Exactly. Now you're thinking. You're being logical. This is God's number. The flower, the plants, the snail in the ocean, the escovitch, the shell of anything, the design is with this number. The design, even your facial structure, the design is with this number. Snowflakes, what have you, the design is with this number. So you can do whatever you want with it, but the thing here is the logic of it is understanding what we are doing here. We said we have to start out with the two sequence, the two terms, the two first terms. We identify the two first terms, and we go that the first term, which is n0, and the second term, which is n1, we say let's assign the next term coming to the n1. If we do that, that simply means that the next one coming is equal to the n term, which means it could be any number that we want. Once we do that, we keep the count. Each time we add 1 to the count. And we started the count from what? From 0. Each time we add 1 to the count so that we can keep 15. You see, 0 is 1, 1 is 2, 2 is 3, and all that. So computer always starts from 0. When it's 0 to 14, that's 15. So you keep the count, you keep the terms that you want, number of terms that you want. Okay, that's how it works. So when we did the 15, I'll show you guys. when we did the 15 terms, so programming is easy. Python has given everybody a chance now. Let's not play around. It's giving us a chance. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to type 14 terms, and we're going to count it so that you guys will understand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. See? 0 to that. Well, actually, if you take 0 out, you know what that is. So basically, what we have here is 0 to whatever number, but it's 1 to what? 14. So for 15, we're going to do the same thing. But remember, when you see 15, it's going from 0 to 14.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, Josiah. I didn't see the screen that you were writing the 14.
No, I didn't write any 14. I was just spewing it out. I was just spewing it out what is going on. Like the terms 15,
Okay.
I typed 15 terms. So when I count it from 0, it's going to go from 0 to 14, which is 15. But when I count it, it's 15. It's starting from 0. That's why I keep saying it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. No, I missed one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. See, remember, the other one was 233 right here, guys. And this one is 377. So always remember that. So look at the code, play with the code. I'm going to paste it out there for you guys. I know some of you guys will come up with amazing stuff with it.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Josiah,
Yes?
can I ask you a question?
Go
Why
ahead.
would you say, I saw 1, 1. So you had 0, 1, 1, and then it went to 2. Is there, and then I know you, N1 equals 0, but then N1 equals 1. So why would it have 1, 1?
Okay, for us to
Okay.
get the Fibonacci sequence, we identify the first two terms. Once we identify the first two terms, which is N0 and N1. So we assign N0 a value of 0 and assign N1 a value of 1. Then if we want to get all the other numbers to align with the logic behind it, it simply means that we have to assign the next one to be equal to the one before it. That's when you have assign N2 to N1. Because after the first two sequence, after the first two terms, is going to be N2. N2 is actually the third term. Okay? So, N2 is actually, it's actually the third one, the third number coming up. So in that case, if you assign N2 to N1, this is correct. 1 and 1. Then after that, the next numbers, all the numbers following the n term will be N1 plus N2. But remember, you've already assigned N1 to N2. That simply means any number plus the one following it will be equal to that term. Do you understand now? Any number plus the one following it will now be equal to that subsequent term. So now, if you do 0, 1, 0 plus 1, what do you have? You have the first term, which is a 1. If you do 1 plus 1, you have the second one, which is a 2. If you do 2 plus 3, you have the third one. If you do 1 plus 2, you have the third one, which is a 3, the fourth one, fifth one. We can confirm that here. So this is the first one, second one. This is the third one. If this is the N0, okay, this is N1. Okay? If we assign N1 to N2, remember this is not a regular math, it's a Fibonacci sequence. It's already proven in mathematics. So the logic is what we are building. So now if you have N0, N1, Then if you assign n1 to n2, which is the one coming next, then this is correct. Then if you add this one to this one, you get 1. See? You add this to this one. So this is where the term is. But these are how the sequence falls. But the term, 15 term, this is how you calculate it. You calculate this one. This one is 0 from the beginning. You calculate 0 plus 1, you get this one. You calculate 0 plus 1, you get this one, right? This is the first two terms. 0 plus 1, you get this one. 1 plus 1, you get this 2. 1 plus 2, you get the 3. 2 plus 3, you get the 5. That's how it works, and so on and so forth. So if you don't assign n2 to n1, this wouldn't have been possible. And you assign n2 to n1 and you keep the count. Okay? You already started from 0, right? If you keep the count from 0, each time you add 1. That's what this thing means. When you see this, count plus equal 1. That means take this 1, add it to the left. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that helps. Thank you.
Take this one, add it to the left. So when you start playing with it, you will figure it out. You will even figure it out much, much, much better than how I explained it. And you will see that it's a mathematical thing, which we moved it from mathematical sense to a programmatical sense so people can actually see it happen. Instead of writing a proof, you can write the code to show it. Instead of writing a mathematical proof, right? So that's it for us today. I really appreciate you guys showing up. I encourage every one of you to continue pushing to the limits. Don't ever imagine or think to yourself whether or not you can do this. I believe you can do it. You have pushed to the limit. You are still here with me in what we are doing, and I'm so happy for that. And I will do the best that I can to make sure that we do the best that we can. Now, I have introduced quite a few things, and I wanted you guys to take hold of these things, hold them dearly to your heart, and don't play with these things. Go and find you Powershell ISC, download it, find MU, download it, have it for yourself so that you can go out of one-liner coding. Okay, you need to go out of one-liner coding. So you need to do go ahead and download all this stuff and grow out of the one-liner coding. And if you have any problems, you let me know. And we're going to be wrapping up. I don't know if anybody have any other question, but I really enjoyed how this thing played out today. We were able to talk about PowerShell and how we can actually use the PowerShell ICE to do scripting and bring object-oriented programming into the mix. And we also started off playing with Python, and I'm sure Python is a language you guys will love so much. This is just the beginning.
I'm already looking forward to Python. I think I really enjoy it. He was right. I think it's really where my mind wants to be.
Thank you very much. And don't forget to go ahead and look at the roster and make sure your name is there. I know Agatha did that. And make sure your name is there and populate it. And make sure you turn in the CISSP update for the domains that we have. There will be a homework for this one here. It's going to be a Fibonacci sequence. And I'm going to have you write the Fibonacci sequence, but you will have to put your name in the code that you're going to write, and you're going to run it and make sure it works. And if you like, you can run it in class, or you can run it as a homework and send it in. When you send it as a .py and submit it in Google Drive, where we make all the submissions. Just put it there, and I will get it. Make sure you submit it under your name, so I can run them. It's gonna keep me busy, but I'm just trying to push you guys into understanding that coding is a greater part of the life that you guys are living, especially when you have Python, which is just like writing English. Writing essay, you don't have to think so technical about the complications in data type, data structure, and all of that stuff. Okay, guys? So that's it. Thank you guys again. And this program is supported by Lockdown LLC. We want to always thank them, and is implemented by each one teach one.
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Thank you. Have
Bye
a
for
nice
now.
day, everyone.
You.
You
Have a
too.
good
Bye.
night.
Bye bye.